Yeah, so we're going to start from Mbezim with Aleph, about 10-12 lines on the bottom. Miloi Tnan. You have it? Yeah, fine. Over here, Miloi Tnan is over here. It's Miloi Tnan, didn't we learn? I mean, what did we say? The Gemara had a kasha that he says, my avodah. So you're still right. So if you're still considering them your avodim, so then that means that you never were mashachar them. If you never were mashachar them, so then they're not going to get anything. So what was the whole business? So Amalei Rafram Ravashi. So Rafram says to Ravashi, "V'dilma avodah shahayu kfar." Maybe we're talking about, this is my Jeffrey, who is my former avid. We like Tanan, didn't we learn in the Mishnah? The Gemara brought earlier on Daf Ches. HaKasev kol nechas v'l'abd. The person who writes the star that rules in the chasam should go to his eved yotzel lecherus, he goes free.
You see, it works.
Yeah. So if Shimon Eimer l'elmu ben chayrin at shiyama kol nechas.
Shayat karka kosher.
I'm sorry, I skipped. Yeah, shayat karka kosher le'yotzel lecherus. If
you don't know,
because he's
leaving out
the chasam
right. The eved.
So le'yotzel lecherus. Why? So Rashi the le'yadin and hey karka shayr. We don't know which karka he left over.
Yes.
L'chol kol shehu amrin and hayshayr, and it's possible that every kol shehu, that's the one that he left out. It would make you a seat.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Anyways,
interesting.
Yeah, so we don't know. There's no way to be mevarer. There's no way to be mevarer which part of the karka is that kol shehu. So we say.
No, but why don't you say like I said?
What do you say?
That maybe he left out the evet as the karka.
No, because it doesn't say that.
Evet, and then he doesn't get anything.
I hear that, but I think we're talking about where he left out some karka as in regular karka, not a lumdish kind of.
That's what you think.
That's what mistaber from the Gemara and Daf Ches. So, Zakt Rashi, lo yotze ben chayrin, the le'adin and hekarka ben bezim al, yeah. So the le'adin and hekarka shay. We don't know which piece of karka he left over. Chol kolshu, every bit of karka, Amrin and Hayshai, we could say that maybe this is what he left over. They came to karkos like kana l'gufei. Came to karkos like kana. Since he wasn't kana any of the karkos, l'gufei nami like kana. He wasn't kana himself either. Why? So Zakti Gemara on Daf Ches, the loy palgin and dibura. We do not split his words. Right? That was the sugya there in Daf Ches. Hoyle b'chad dibura akne legufei nechasim, u'palga dibura le'yeskayim. So if we're going to split his words, then the whole thing is going to have to fall through. But over here, the pshat is that we're only going with that because the whole Torah over here is because he said it all bechad dibur in one shot. Reb Shimon Eimer lo'elmu ben chayrin ad sheyamar kol mechasa and esuna lepleni avdi chutz be'ech meribi shebehem. Reb Shimon says that lo'elum is ben chayrin unless he specifies ad sheyamar kol mechasa and esuna lepleni avdi chutz be'ech meribi shebehem. Meaning that he has to specify and speak out that he's not giving him a certain part of the karka. If it just happened to be that he left out some parts, so then as long as he didn't specify it, he's going to go free. Why? And the svara is because Reb Shimon holds palgina dibura. We could chop up his words to understand it, to make it that the eved could go free even if it's not everything. And that's the big question. Bichlal, how palgina dibura works, and that you have to see Daf Ches, and you have to see also the text I think in Ksubis, and there's Rabbi Naftali Trapp has a big Torah on this. But Mr. Shem, when we give the Shir Iyun, we'll go through it a little better. Yeah. So Zakti Gemara time with the Amar Chutz Mech Meribi Shebehan. The reason why he's going to be a Ben Chayrin according to Reb Shimon is because because he spoke this out. Haloy Amar Hochi Kani. But if he wouldn't say this, then Avadi, he would be Kaina. Amai v'ha eved kakarilei. Meaning, what's our question? Our question is, we're still calling him Eved even after we're being Mishakram. We still said, right? So we're asking the same question from this Mishnah. Ella zakti Gemara avadai shayu kvar. This is my alta Eved. So hachinami avadai shayu kvar. So too in the case of the Bryce at the beginning of the Amud that we saw yesterday. So that's also the avadai shayu kvar, the amalage Eved. The Amalage Jeffrey that worked for us many years before. Okay. Now the Gemara is going to go into something new, something interesting, not really related to the previous sugya. I mean, it has to do with avodim and freeing avodim, but no. So if you have, again, we have a chatzi, eved a chatzi ben chayrin, right? According to the Mishnah Rishayna, he's eved as atzma yemechad, bes rabbi yemechad. So what's an afkamina lahalacha? Obviously, it's a huge afkamina lahalacha because anything could happen, and then So let's see. The Gemara is going to speak out two different cases of where we're going to run into an issue of Oived es Rabbi Yamechad es Atzmai Yamechad. So Nokai Shor Yom Shel Rabbi LeRabbi. Let's say his shor was Negeach, his master, on the day that he was working for the master. So then the money goes LeRabbi, right? Yom Shel Atzmai LeAtzmai. And when if his shor shtoised him on the day when he belonged to himself, so then the money goes to himself. So for the Gemara, Elameata Yom Shel Rabbi Yisa Shivcha Yom Shel Atzmai Yisa Bas Chorין. For the Gemara, on the day when he's able to be by himself, he's going to marry a Bas Chorין, and on the other day he can marry a Shivcha, and it's going to be all. And of course you can't split it. Meaning, because really the Mishnah is trying to be miyashiv. Right. But the Gemara is really trying to be miyashiv the question in the Mishnah, because the Mishnah says, what should he do? Right? So at least the Bas Chorין, we said is Yevsher. At least the Shivcha, Yevsher. But according to the Mishnah Rishayna, so then maybe we could get Zechanayt like this. Right? So the Gemara, Isura Loi Kamrina. This is going to go back to our original Yisai that we said a couple of days ago, that Isura Loi Kamrina, that the monetary aspect that he had, that we could be miyashiv. That you could split. That we don't have a problem, because money is simple. But when it comes to Isurim, that's when we have an issue. Isura Loi Kamrina. So Zchias Mammon Avada is going to work. But if it's not Zchias Mammon, then we have issues. Okay. Tarshama, let us see. Hamis Misha Chetzi Ever Chetzi Ben Chorין Noisin Chetzi Knas LeRabbi V'Chetzi Kofer LeYorshiv. Somebody killed. So meaning we're talking about a Shar Amud. Yes, you have Shleishim Shel Eved. Or do you have Shleishim Shel Eved? I mean, technically speaking, if somebody kills an Eved or his Shar kills an Eved, so then it's Shleishim Shel Eved, right? But over here it's Shleishim of Chetzi Eved. So does the Knas go down to half or not? So let's see Rashi. B'Shar Amud Koy. We're talking about a Shar Amud. The Gabi Eved Noisim Shleishim Kesef. The Hainu Knas. Again, we know for the Gemara Ksubas, the Gemara Makas, that any set amount of money, that is called a Knas. Now, if you look any shav at dinner, even if he's not worth a dinner, nicer Shleishim Sela, you still got to give him 30 Sela. The Gabi Ben Chorין nice and Kofer. The Hainu Demei Horig. If he's a Ben Chorין, then you have to give him a full Kofer, which is the amount that this guy would be worth to. How much he was a big, tough, strong guy. So if he would be sold in the marketplace, he'd make a lot of money. So that's Kofer. So if it would be Ben Chorין, that's the difference between somebody who's hiring a Eved and somebody who's hiring a Ben Chorין. So again, Hamis Misha Chetzi Eved Chetzi Ben Chorין Nois and Chetzi Knas LeRabbi, give half the Knas to the master, V'Chetzi Kofer LeYorshiv, and half of the Kofer to the Yorshim, because that's a Tzad Cherus, right? Because that's because look, on the Tzad that he's an Eved, so he's going to get half of a he's going to get half of the 30 because of Knas, because of the compensation for the Eved. And if he killed a Ben Chorין, I'm sorry, and because he also killed a Ben Chorין, so he's going to have to pay for a Ben Chorין also. So you pay Chatzi Kofer. Again, Kofer is how much you would evaluate him on the slave market and how much you'd be worth. So he was worth $10,000.
The difference between Kofer and Shloshim is if it's the first 3 times or the Mu'ud. No?
Maybe.
So how is he splitting up?
No, but Rashi says this, that Gabe Ben Chorין Nois in Kofer. The Hainu Demei Horig. The Shleishim Shel Eved is only applicable by Avod. It's not applicable anywhere else. Yeah? So Chatzi Kofer goes to the Yorshim of the Chatzi Kofer Yorshim. Fine.
Wait, I don't follow.
What's the problem?
If this is an animal that did it, right?
Yeah.
So an animal that kills a person, you pay the Yorshim the value of the person?
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you give Chatzi Kofer to the Yorshim.
So he's really using the word Kofer not in the right way, but it's just the whole...
Yeah, okay. So, Amai, why do you give the money to the Yorshim? Hachanami, let me just say the same story that we just said in the Gemara before. The Yom Shel Rabbi should be LeRabbi. Yom Shel Atzmai should be LeAtzmai.
Whenever he did it.
Right? So, Zak the Gemara, that over here, Shani Hacha, the Kalya Karna. I'm not exactly sure how they want to touch it. Let me borrow your Gemara for a second.
Kalya Karna, he's done.
Right.
It's not damages that he's still going to work. He's done.
The case here, the Brisa differs from the case where he's really injured by the axe. But the axe depleted the principal value of the slave when he killed him. Yeah. It means he's toasted. There's no more.
There's no
It's
more.
not like he
So
broke the window. There's
no
nothing.
more for both.
Right. That's what Kali Karna means. That it's a done deal. Dummy, the like a Kali Karna. So how could you have a case where it's not Kali Karna? Like we're talking about where he killed him, right? So now the Gemara is going to come with a whole Baba Kama Diga Shmuz, and it goes like this: Going sheiko wal yodav v'tzamsa yodav v'seifa lachzor. He gave him a big zetz on his arm, and he can't use his arm anymore. He broke his arm, and it shriveled up, and what tzamsa means it shriveled up, and eventually it's gonna get back.
Heal.
It's interesting because if someone Chashon breaks an arm or breaks a leg and they get a cast, I don't know if they still give casts anymore. Now they give boots and all kinds of zachen, but because the muscles aren't being used, so the arm target shrivels, and you can see it, and you got to do physical therapy till you build yourself back up, right? So sheiko yadav v'tzamsa yadav v'seifa lachzor, and it's going to get back. He's going to be back. He's going to be back in business soon. So you have to evaluate him. So this guy's value on the market. So again, let's just chaz over the basics of the Gemara Nachayvel. Right, right. Nezek tzari pushavs and boishes. The nezek is the damage, meaning how much it goes down in value, right? And Shabbos is tsar is how much you evaluate it, depending how much money a person is willing to put down in order to go through such a pain. And ripuy, so the doctor bills. The Shabbos is the loss that he can't go to work, and Baishis is the embarrassment that he has to go through. So over here, he says that it's Sefer Lachzor. So he's getting. So Mela, you chopped off his hand. He's not going to be able to work anymore at all. He could only be a Shamri Kishuim. So then, fine. So
This sounds like it depends on the day.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna get back to that.
Okay.
So Kigoin Shekol Yadav Tzam Yadav Sefer Lachzor. So Hanichala Baya the Amar Nersin Le Shevetz Gedayla V'Shevetz Ketana Shapir. Elo L'Rava the Einay.
Remind me, Shevetz Gedola is how much his value went completely down.
Yeah.
And Shevetz Ketana is how much he can't work for that day.
Right. So Hanichala Baya, you just said that Rashi in like one line. Yeah, that's exactly where Rashi explains it. So Hanichala Baya the Amar Nersin Le Shevetz Gedayla V'Shevetz Ketana Shapir. That's going to be good. Elulurava. So why is it good? So Rashi, they came to the shaykh to nezik b'makazuma chayiv sharala. Since he's still mechuyev to pay for the nezik over here, even the Baal Hashar is going to be chayiv. They came to the loy kali akarna legamri. There's still something here that he's paying for. Meaning the guy is still around. He broke his arm. He's going to be out of business. The guy's an electrician. He can't use his hands for the next 6 weeks.
But here he's saying that you paid all that money to one person that it happened in his day.
We didn't get to that yet, but let's see.
Okay.
But according to that Gemara, then yeah.
Right, that's what
100%.
I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So,
even though it doesn't make sense.
The Kevin Lekali Akarna Lagamri Yem Shal Rabbi Larabi Yem Shal Atma Lasmai. Like you just said. That's how it would go. Right? So if it would be Kali Akarna Lagamri like the Gemara says, then there's nothing to talk about. There's no business. Right? It's done. You don't pay him, you don't pay him for what he went down because he's no more.
And therefore you compensate each half.
Right.
Or whatever.
You pay for the loss, basically.
Right, and they both had loss.
Right. So it would be Chatzi Kar for the So
right, it didn't matter which day it happened.
Right. So if it's a case of Kalya Karnas, then it doesn't matter. But if it's not Kalya Karnas, then it's going to make a big nafkamina. So again, according to Abaye, it's going to be good. One second. According to Rava, they don't pay Shabbos G'zel and Shabbos Ketana. What do you pay? You pay only the losses per day. Shifta shall kol yom v'yom. Ve'enkan pchas dam zak Rashi. Ve'enkan pchas damim. There's no loss of money over here. Hoil the Sefer Lachzar, because that's not really so bad. He's going to get back to work and people are going to give him jobs again. Elul pisheves shall kol yom yitin like kol yom nefilos el lamata. Yitin schar adam shalom lefim malach sheragaba. Meaning, do you get paid by the hour or you get paid a salary, right? So if you're not here for a week, we're going to take away $1,000 from your salary, right? So that's what Rava says. It depends on the days that you missed. So if you missed a day, so we take off $50. You missed 2 days, take off $100, right? And obviously the mazik, that's what he's going to have to pay. So according to Rava, how do we tell this to the question of a shor? Shor only pays nezek. A chayvel b'chaveira is ben adam le'adam. Right? That's the Gemara. That's very clear at the beginning of a chayvel, that the shmuz and a chayvel is the difference between a
Adam Amazik.
Adam Amazik is pays 5 form, Hashem can a Shor Hamazik, Shor Hamazik pays nezek. Right? And so what's the tushtal here b'chlal? So Zakti more like this. Iba Yisema Kshei Adam. Could be we're talking about we're not talking about a shor, we're talking about a person. You know, when we ask you the question, we're not talking about a shor, we're talking about a person. So then he would pay him chamisha dvarim. That's a good answer. That's good. Viba Yisema Memrahi. It's a memra memra l'rava le'svirale. It's a memra and Rava doesn't hold it a memra. So Rashi hach memra be'almehi. This is just a saying that was said, a statement that was made by somebody. Ve'ena le'mishnah v'le'braisa. It's not a mishnah or a braisa.
What statement?
This halacha that Rav is arguing on, that this nogach shor, or I'm sorry, hemis misha chetzi v'chetzi benchar noisa chetzi damav noisa chetzi kratz Rav v'chetzi kav liyarsha. So that would be a memra. So a memra l'Rav l'sirulei. So Rav Omalach the memra l'sirulei. Rav will tell you that he doesn't hold it as memra. Now, just we mentioned yesterday, I just want to speak it out. The fascinating Varts Rav Chanan in Kavit Shurim and Baba Basra. Ois Tov Reish Lamed Ches. He starts off bringing Rabbeinu Yonah, and he says the following: if I would tell you that I could argue on a Mishnah, you tell me I'm nuts. There's no such thing. A Tana to argue on another Tana all the time, every day. Almost the whole Shas. So it's for Ezum Mekayman, right? A Moira to argue on another Moira, for sure. That's the whole Shas. For a Moira to argue on a Tana, how could we have that? So sometimes we say Rav Tanu Palag, Rav Yechanan Tanu Palag, but Rabbi Chanan says, he brings from Rabbi Chanan Briska, his Rebbe, that a Tana and a Meira can argue on a Memra. If it's not a Mishnah or it's not a Brisa, then an Meira has full right to argue on it, as we see right here in the Gemara. This would be a classic example, a classic case of a Memra, because Rabbi is saying that Memra the Rabbi is late. Yeah.
Gone history.
Yeah. So that's in Baba Basra. He says that. Fine, weiter. Me'ukiv get shikhr, yesh leknas, ein leknas. What is a me'ukiv get shikhr? We're talking about that the master wants to get rid of him, but they didn't pile. They didn't. Right. Paperwork always takes time, so they didn't get to paperwork yet. Good way of saying it. Right? Rashi says mechusa get shikhr kol hanach tamina b'hudiyotz lecheres ein l'rabbi leim el shatzun get shikhr. Meaning the case of our guy that we're talking about the whole time is also Mokum get shipper. Because we got to wait to Kaifin as rabbis. That probably also needs some paperwork. Yeah? So, Mokum get shipper, yesh like knas, in like knas. Does he get a knas or not? Meaning, does he, Zakrashi, Shleishim, Kesef, L'Rabbi, Nochi, Shor? Does, if he gets Nagach by a Shor, does his master get a knas for the Sunnah? So, Zoti Gemara. Yesh like knas, ein like knas. Zakti Gemara, the pasuk says, "Kesef shleishim shkalim yitein la'adonav." You should give the 30 silver shkalim to the master. Amar Achmana. V'hai la'avadinhu. And this guy's not the master.
He's not free.
He's not free legamri. Right. Or Dilma Kevin the Mechusah get shecher adon greenabay. Maybe there's still somewhat of adon that's holding on to him. So what do we do? Yeah. So Zakti Gemara, Tashma. Hey, Miss Misha Chetzi Avru Chetzi Ben Chayrin Nisin Knas Rabbi Chetzi Kavli Yarshov, like this memory that we brought before, that if a person, according to one side of the Gemara, or an animal that killed a Chetzi Avru Chetzi Ben Chayrin, so then he gives half of the Knas to the master, and he gives half of the Kavli to the Yarshov. So my love, what are we talking about? So the Mishnah was that he's not out yet because he's kaifin as rabbi, right? So then
So you see a proof that ukiv get shecher, you pay.
Yeah. So Zak the Gemara, no, we don't have to necessarily give Mishnah Chreina. We can talk about a Mishnah Rishayna that what?
And it stays
because
that way.
by Mishnah Rishayna there's no kfiyah. So then this is the state. It doesn't move. Meaning the point of kaifin is that we need to get the guy's in trouble. We need to save him. We need to be matzal the guy from the other, right? Kaifin is rabbi. In the Mishnah Rishayna there's no kaifin anything. Mishnah Rishayna it's good. I mean, I don't know what kind of life it is.
You continue that way.
I don't know what kind of life it is, but he's an Eved. He's somewhat of an Eved, whatever. He's got his set of issues, we could say. Tashma, let's go back to Hipila Shinai. he knocked out his tooth, which is going to set him free. V'simas einai, or he popped out his eye, right? So yaitza b'shina v'neitzin me'einai. So he goes out with his.
He did both.
He did both, right? So he's yaitza b'shina. So he goes out from the tooth, and because the sima is einai, because he
happened afterwards.
Right. So because it happened already after he's l'chorah, he's already considered to be freed. So then he's got to pay him for
like a regular Jew.
Yeah. V'i amritesh like knas l'rabbi. One second. If we're saying that he has a knas and the knas goes to the master, so hashta chavli be'achrini yavi le'lerabbi, chaval be'rabbi gufei yav le'ledidei. Yeah. So what happens over here is like this. So what's the story over here?
That's
so again,
here they're claiming that it's mu'ukav get shechra even on hipul shina, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So that's going to be the question in the Gemara. We're going to see it's machlekes tanoim. It's the shaposh the ma'isa. We always thought, yeah, he knocked out his tooth.
He's gone.
He runs for his life, right? Comes to you. Knocks out his tooth, and he runs away. He doesn't have to deal with anything. Because actually, we want to know, just paperwork got to be filed. It's not supposed to. Get everything, paperwork. That's yeah. Fine. So Zakti Gemara, as if you're going to say that he has a knas, and the knas goes to the master. So hashta chavli be'achrini. Let's say somebody else would damage him. So yavi le'le rabbe. So that knas would go to the master. So chavli be'rabbe gufay. But when the master himself damages the eved, yav le'le didei. So he should go to himself, right? But l'chara, if the guy's going to be going free, then he should be paying the eved, right?
Right, and that wasn't the case. So you see that ukav get shechra, you don't pay.
Yeah. So Zakti Gemara, Dilma Commander Omar Einay Tzarech. Maybe this is going like the Manda Omar that says that you don't need to. That you don't need a what? That you don't need to write him a get shechur. Because maybe even after CMS, you still got to write him get shechur. The Tani we learned to the Brayso, Bekulan Evidetz Melacheris. All of them, on any one of the 24 Rasha Evarim that are mentioned in Masech and the Goyim Perik Vav Mishnah Zayah. That, so here's a very interesting halacha. And Rashi quotes a Mishnah in the Goyim that tells us like this: there are 24 Rasha Evarim. Le'inyan she'enem etamim mishum michya. There's a certain kind of tzaraz called the michya, and they are if there are any of the Rasha Evarim on the tips of the Evarim, which are the Rasha Etzbay Shalitayim V'Raglayim, the fingers and the toes, that's 20. 10 fingers, 10 toes. V'Rasha Achaitim, the nose. Rasha Oznayim, V'Rasha Gviyah. Shemishupan Lakan Lakan. They all come to a point. Vein Niga Nira Lakain B'Vazachas. The problem is that the kohen's got to be able to see the nega at one shot. If I have to look around, if I can't see the whole nega at once, then we got a problem. In order for the nega to be considered a nega, it needs to be able to be seen at one shot. But if I'm going to have to figure it out, how I'm supposed to see it, so then we don't say that it's considered a nega. And those state the Mishnah Beferish in Negoim. So Zakti Gemara that any one of these 24 Evarim that get damaged by an Eved, so then Bekulan Eved Yitzibem Lecheres. I mean, it's not specifically eye, tooth, or whatever. It's any one of the 24 things that got damaged. V'tzarech get shechur me'raber de Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel says that Afal Piken you still got to give the get shechur. Rameir Einay Tzarech, Lezer Einay Tzarech, Tarfon Einay Tzarech, Rabbi Kiva Einay Tzarech. Hamachrin lefnei Chachamim Einay Nirin Divrei Rabbi Tarfon b'Shein v'Ayin Hoil v'Torah Zachsaloi. V'Divrei Rabbi Kiva b'Shari Varim Hoil Knas Chachamim. So what is this? So the Gemara is explaining what the machlekes Rabbi Tarfon and Rabbi Kiva is over here. So again, Rabbi Kiva, Hamachrin lefnei Chachamim Einay. Those that are Hamachrin lefnei Chachamim, I don't remember who that is. The As Chacham is in Nerv Leis Parish Baninu. It doesn't say who they are. I'm trying to remember if there's a Gemara Sanhedrin or something that says who. There's maybe Israel Rashi that says who the Machrim Lefnei Chachamim are. Okay, Rashi here says not, so we don't know. Right there. So Nirin Divrei Reb Tarfon b'Shein v'Ayin. We're going to go with Reb Tarfon by Shein v'Ayin. That is Einay Tzarech get sheker. However, the Torah Zitzla, because that's his beferish on the Torah that he could go free. So if the Torah says he could go free, don't be mechayiv me to write to get sheker on top of that. The Divrei Rabbi Kiva b'Shar Evarim, and Rabbi Kiva who holds that tzarech that you do need a right to get shechur, that is b'Shar Evarim hoil knas chachamim. Being that this is a knas chachamim, because this is not what it says in the pasuk, right? Because we know what it says in the pasuk. Yeah, it's a Gemara Kedushin. The Gemara figures this out. Okay. In fact, the Gemara Knas Hoil Knas Chachamu Knas HaKroi Kadashina. This is learned out of Psukim. The Gemara in Kedushin on Chav Dalar Amud Beis learns this out of Psukim. Don't tell me it's a Knas. Ela Ema Hoil Medrash Chachamim. Meaning that it's a Medrash Chachamim, and it's not a Beferish Pasuk. In the Parish of Avodim, it's very Pashut. You read the Torah, you see what's going on there. You don't necessarily understand all the drushes. The Medrash Chachamim, that's where we're being Meisef to the 24 Rosh Evarim. Because that's considered Mumash Bagoloi, and they're not Chayzer Kishen Va'ayit. Okay? So that's why the Rosh Evarim are different than Shen Va'ayit, because the Makar of the Drasha, or the Makar of the Halacha, is different. So it's not going to be the same as... So there's a difference between what Rabbi Kiva is talking about and what Rabbi Tarfon is talking about. Okay.
Medrash Chachamim.
Yeah. No Rashi, let's go weiter. Can this fellow eat truma or not? Well, one day he'll eat by this guy, and one day he'll eat by himself. Right?
And by himself he can't eat.
Right, because he's a regular guy. He's not a kohen.
Right.
So kinyan kaspeim rachmana. V'hailav kinyan kaspeim. Do we say that the pasuk says kinyan kaspeim, that Dafka, the Kinyan, his Kinyan, Kishore Vachamara can eat Truma, but he's not considered like, and he's not considered Kinyan Kasper. Or maybe Kole's man, he doesn't ever get Shechur, we consider him, and he's still considered get Shechur. He's considered get Shechur. He's considered a Kinyan Kasper. So Zag Gemara Tashima, let's bring a Ra'adam Rav Meshachia, Kohenes, Shenes Ara Vlada Bevlad Shevchasa. A Kohenes, meaning an Ashes Kohen, that her child got mixed up, got confused between the child and the shifta.
His own shifta.
Yeah. So, Harei Elo Eichlan Betruma V'chelkin Chelik Echad Ala Geirin.
So, because they both could do it, whether you're a child.
Yeah, if he belongs to an Eved, so then why not? Right? An Eved Kohen could eat. Right? So they could eat. Fine. So now the problem is. So Rashi speaks up in the Gemara Yevamos and Tzadi Testament based on the following interesting halacha. Means that one can't go to the Gerin to get truma without the other, because one of them is not allowed to get truma, and we don't know who's who. So Rashi.
One of them is not. Why? It's an Eved. It's a Kohen's Eved or a child.
Right. So again, Kohenes shenis arv vlad b'lad shevchasa. Harei lo eichlan b'tshuma chelken chelek echad al geiru. Higdilu at haruvis v'shachar and zeh. So why do you have to be mashachar and zeh? Why do you need to figure it out? Right. So let's see Rashi. Maybe Rashi will explain. So v'chelken chelek echad b'yivamis mefarshim chelek ke'echad. We don't allow one to eat truma without the other. The Kesovar and chelkin truma levet kanani begar. Nothing to do with the fact that he cannot eat truma. Just that we don't give an evet kanani truma in the garin elam kin rabba imoy unless his master's there with him. We'll say, oh, this guy Jeffrey, he's a kohen. And what's going to happen? Now he's going to be a hachan chashvichas, right? Everybody thinks the guy's chashvichas because he has good friends. He didn't know that he's from Jeffrey. He's not from Beis Yisrael. Yeah, but and now you're not going to be machshav him for yuchsa.
If both go,
right? Because there's always some kind of non-eved entity that's coming with them to make sure that that's not
very strange.
Yeah,
they announce one of us is an eved.
That's the sugya there in Yevamos. Tzaditas Kuf Kufalov. That's a big shmuz over there in Yevamos. Very geshmak gemaras over there. So v'haim ukav get shecher hu ve'en l'rabbi rishusalav. The lo yada heiminayu eved. Meaning we don't know this guy's the ukav get shecher because eventually they have to be meshachar zeh. Or trichan sheishachar zeh. Ketani seifek dilo taru shachar zeh. Ketani echel b'truma. You see that they could still eat truma even though they're ukav get shechers. Right, because eventually, when they grow up, they're gonna have to free each other, right? Because you don't want this kid.
And once
this kid
Eved is freed, then he can't eat it. They both can't eat it, probably.
Well, the kohen could eat it.
He doesn't know who's the kohen.
Right. Right, so that's
So
the problem.
probably both can't eat it.
I mean, you're saying after. That's the
Because one of
Gemara
them
Yavamas deals with
is
that.
Oh, okay.
That's the Gemara Yavamas. That's what the Gemara Yavamas is coming to discuss. Okay, so Mishachim says this. So let's see. It is Shaykh that Eliyahu is going to come and he's going to tell us that, you know which one of you guys is the Kohen. He says, oh, this guy looks right, this guy's a Kohen. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah? So Im Yavi Eliyahu Yomer B'chad Minay De'evet Hu Kini Kas B'Krina Beit. It is Shaykh that Eliyahu is going to come tomorrow and he's going to say, this guy's the Kohen, this guy's the Evet. Right? So meaning it's not like we can't figure it out. If we figure it out and it does become known to us that there is, which one is the Evet over here, he's going to be considered Kinyan Kasbay, right? So Hachal Lav Kinyan Kasbay Hu Klal. But now he's not considered our Kinyan Kasbay at all. Why? Because he once you Meshachon says that, there is no more Evet, like you said. There's no more Evet over here. Once there's no more Evet over here, the whole reason why Jeffrey's allowed to eat Truma is because he's an Evet of a Kohen. Or in our case, because he's a Safek Evet of a Kohen, or a Safek Kohen Evet, or I don't know what you want to call this guy. This guy doesn't really know what he is, right?
Is Safek, would they allow him to?
So
Safek, they allow?
Yeah.
Would you say Safek L'chumra? That they would just
So
allow, they would prohibit?
no, it's not L'chumra because he's the Evet of a Kohen. So the Evet of a Kohen is allowed to eat Truma also.
Huh?
For different reasons.
He can't go to get
You
Truma.
know the case?
Let's go with the case. Let's get a review of the case.
So the case is like this: you have a kohenes and a shivcha, and they both had babies at the same time, and you don't know which one's which, right? So the shivcha,
Kohen shivcha, so that the baby of the shivcha could eat truma because a evet could eat truma.
Shivha of the Kohenet.
Right.
Therefore, it goes under the Kohenet.
And she eats truma.
Exactly.
Got it. So Safek. Okay, so okay, got
So
it. Now I understand.
either of them eat. We don't know who they are, but
Got it,
either
got
of
it.
them.
right? The problem is like this: the Gemara Yevamah says that they cannot go to the goyren. An evet is not allowed to go to the place where they divide up the truma, because they're going to say, this guy's a kohen. See, this guy's a kohen. They're going to start giving him aliyahs and. In a regular case, but over here he's allowed to go.
He can't go show up himself and give me because
They're gonna think Davka, he's the Kohen himself.
Yeah.
But not in this mix-up case. Any case.
Got it. So the question, so the Hevdel before about the Safek was not on the Eved or Shivha, whether she was freed or not. Rather, it's on the children.
Right.
If the children are genuine Kohanim, Kohanot, whatever the term is, or Kohanim,
Or an
Kohen,
evet of a Kohen.
or Eved Kohen.
So
But
they
irrespective, both sides, they
but
eat
when
Truma,
they-
so it's
when
not really
they-
Safek.
But when they go to the Goren, both have to go together.
I got it.
Yeah,
So that's what we're talking about. Talking about the Goren, not
Got
when the Truma is right in the possession.
Right.
Got it.
So now, what's going to happen is, let's see. If one day Eliyahu is going to come and he's going to say that one of these guys is an Eved, so Kinyan Kaspa Karina Bay. And then the guy is going to be considered Kinyan Kaspa. We're going to know which one's Kinyan Kaspa, and that guy can still eat Truma because he's the Eved of the Kohen. So Hachalav Kinyan Kaspa Huklal. But over here, because he's waiting on his to be Mevarer who he is, so he can't eat Truma at all. Meaning after the Meshachar him, we don't know that he could eat. We don't know that he could do anything. Okay, Vaiktas like the Gemara. Yibaylahu, Evet shamacher rabbi leknas macher or ene macher, and Evet that the master sold him for a knas. So
What does
So
that mean?
we're gonna get to it in a second. So is he considered sold or is he not sold? What does that mean that he sold his Evet for a knas? Zok Rashi shamacher rabbi leachel leknas she'im yegechanu shor yeh knas shaloi. He sold him with a tanai like this, and if a shor is gonna ox him, if a shor is gonna gore him, so then the knas should belong to him, but not. He's only gonna sell. Right. He says, "I'm only gonna sell the eved if he gets hit by an ox."
In other words, the
He's gonna sell an
owner
Eved.
of the Eved sold the right that in the Eved that if the Eved gets bored, instead of the money coming to me, the owner, it's going to come to you because you gave me about $2.
Yeah.
Or the other, whoever the Eved is, not me, obviously.
Right.
The Eved himself.
No, it's not the Eved.
Oh, to me,
The owner
another
went
one.
over to another Jew
I got it.
and said, "Are you a gambling
Third
guy?
party.
Are you a gambler? I have a gamble for you.
The problem is,
Pay me a little thing, and if my Eved gets scored, you're gonna get the money."
problem is Azoy. The problem is like this.
What's the benefit of the owner doing that?
Before we get
If-
to the benefits,
if
let's see what the problem
He gets
is.
money today.
He's selling a right.
All right.
You know,
Selling an option. He's selling
in,
an option.
you know, in Spain they have the running of the bull, right? So he puts the guy out in the street and he says, "Listen, go get gored by an ox, and he'll have a good sale. He'll have a good
Have a good.
thing." Then it could happen, right?
I got it.
But Zakti
So
Gemara like this.
windfall.
Zakti we have a major problem over here. Tiboiler Rameir, Tiboiler Rabban. We're gonna have to look at both Stadim, Sire Rameir and Sire Rabban. Why? What's Rameir? What's Rabban? What are we talking about? So Ad Kala Kamer Rameir that other Makra Davar Shleba Oilam Elkan Paris Dakal David Dios, right? So Rameir's sheet is when other Makra Davar Shleba Oilam. A person is allowed to make a kinyan on something that does not exist yet. But Rameir only says that can work when we know 110% that this thing is going to come into existence. I sold you a potato plantation, right? By tomorrow there should be 150 potatoes there, if not more, right? Today they're not there yet, but tomorrow they'll be there because it's the season when potatoes are going to grow, right?
Or during the season.
Paris dekel davidi da'asu. Like the fruit of a dekel, like the fruit of a palm tree where you know it's going to grow, right? What kind of gamble is this? Like you said, what kind of gamble is this that this guy's going to get hit by a shore? I was going to say hit by a truck, but this guy's going to hit by a shore. Yeah? Vimtim telemer the mingach. Even if we'll say that he is going to get hit by a shore, it's the running of the bull season, right? So mimaydu mishalim, dilma maydu miftar. So let's just chazer over a couple of basic halachas quickly, like this. The money that he's going to give for the Eved, the Shleish Mishal Eved, is a knas. The halacha is the Moed B'Knas is potter, right? So on the side that this guy's going to be Moed B'Knas and Bezdin, so then there's no sale because the sale was only built on the
Not that
tonight.
there's no sale. You don't get the money.
Yeah, meaning he says he's going to sell the Eved. Eved Shamacher Rabbi L'Knas, right?
This goes to Davar Shaloi Bala, right?
Yeah.
In other words, saying that this is such a low Bala Olam is number one, that even if, who says he's going to get Negicha?
Right.
Okay, so, well, Negicha happens once in a year. But even if it happens, he could still pot to himself by being like that.
Right.
So again, you don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dilma Maidu Miftar. So that's
Who's going
according.
there? The owner?
Yeah.
So he's going to be.
No.
Oh no, the owner of the shore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's halacha. That if you have that before Adam. This is Elonaris Makas kind of suggest by in Bezdin, yeah, before the Adam testified, so he can be Moed B'Knas, and Moed B'Knas is part is off the hook. Goodbye. So that's Tiboiler Rameir. Now Tiboiler Rabbanon. Ad kan lekamir Rabbanon eina the makra davar shalei ba'loilam elakaim peris dekel the hashtami lesnu. Meaning, when did the Rabbanon say eina the makra davar shalei ba'loilam? Like in the case of peris dekel, that right now they're not here. But over here, why do we say that it's something that's like b'loilam? There's a guy here and there's a shor here.
And we don't say the same thing. There's a plant, there's a tree.
Meaning, so it's not something that's loy b'loilam. See, I think that the Gemara is saying like this, that the chiluk between Rameir and the Chacham, the way that they're looking at the case is like this. Rameir is talking about something that's loy b'loilam. The Chacham are talking about that you have to be in the right place and the right time. Because the shor exists. The person exists. What are the chances now that these two things are going to collide with each other? Right? It's not loy b'loilam. The story was loy b'loilam, but the things, the physical pieces of the puzzle are here. We just, maybe they're both going to be running, right? They're going to, let's say that they're going to, and we don't know the future, right? But let's say they're going to crash into each other. But instead, the shor decides to run that way and ran into a tree, right? So he's not necessarily going to run into this guy. Meaning, we're saying that the pieces are bala olam, but who says that that he's actually going to gore him?
So
Meaning, the ma'isa might not happen.
So it's a hiluk. What's considered the davar ba'al olam or not?
Yeah.
Basically. If the elam is a ba'olam, but the probability of the
what's the probability of it happening?
occurrence happening or
That's
not.
that's Lebalon.
It didn't happen yet.
Right.
It may never happen.
Exactly. So that's the haluk base. That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah. So that's the case. So that's the where the Gemara says that's going to be the Tiboiler Rameir and Tiboiler Rabbana. I think we should stop here for Mariv, and yeah, to be continued. All right.
and I'll hit the